A woman will tell you everything, and I mean everything, about how she feels about you within the first 3 seconds of seeing you. Not 3 dates, not 3 months, 3 seconds. And here's what's wild. According to researchers at Princeton University, humans form a lasting impression of someone in just 1/10 of a second. So by the time she finishes saying, hey, the verdict is already in. The problem? Most men have absolutely no idea what just happened. And honestly, we were kind of hoping you'd never figure this out. Here's the thing nobody talks about. A woman's greeting is not just a greeting, it's a confession disguised as casual politeness. It's a coded message wrapped in a smile, a touch, a tone of voice that she's practiced in her head at least 4 times before you even walked through the door. And yes, I said 4 times, because I've done it, my friends have done it, and if any woman watching this says she hasn't, she's lying and we all know it. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. She just said hi, what's the big deal? And that right there is exactly why you're single, Kevin. I'm kidding. Sort of. But seriously, the difference between a woman who's being polite and a woman who's absolutely losing her mind over you comes down to micro behaviors that are so subtle, so instinctive that even she might not realize she's doing them. But once you know what to look for, you'll never unsee it. It's like someone handing you the answer key to a test you didn't even know you were taking. And before we go any further, I need to warn you about something. There is one specific greeting in this video, I'll get to it later, that is the single most reliable indicator that a woman is not just interested, but genuinely, deeply, can't stop thinking about you, attracted. When I reveal it, a lot of things from your past are going to suddenly make sense. You might even feel a little stupid. That's okay. Growth hurts sometimes. So let's get into this, because what you're about to learn is going to change how you read every interaction with a woman from this point forward. She uses your name like it's her favorite word. This one flies under the radar constantly, and it shouldn't, because it's one of the most psychologically powerful things a person can do. When a woman greets you and she drops your name into it, not just hey, but hey Marcus, something very specific is happening in her brain. Dale Carnegie wrote about this decades ago in his book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. He said a person's name is, to that person, the sweetest sound in any language. And he wasn't being poetic. Neuroscience has actually backed this up. A study published in the journal Brain Research found that hearing your own name activates specific regions in the brain associated with self-identity and social behavior. Your brain literally lights up differently when someone says your name compared to any other word. Now, women know this instinctively. When she greets you and includes your name, she's doing 2 things at once. First, she's creating intimacy. She's separating you from the crowd. She didn't say, hey guys, or hey everyone. She said your name. Second, and this is the part that matters, she's signaling that you've been on her mind. You don't casually drop someone's name unless that name has been rolling around in your thoughts. Period. If she says your name with a little smile, a slight tilt of her head, maybe even stretches the syllables out just a tiny bit, congratulations. You're living rent-free in that woman's brain, and she just handed you the proof. The touch that has no logical reason to exist. Pay very close attention to this one. When a woman greets you and she touches you, I'm talking about a hand on your arm, a light tap on your shoulder, fingers brushing against your wrist. And there is absolutely no practical reason for that touch to happen. That is not an accident. That is a declaration. Dr. Tiffany Field, director of the Touch Research Institute at the University of Miami, has spent decades studying the science of human touch. And her research shows that touch releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, in both the person touching and the person being touched. So when she reaches out and makes contact with you during a simple greeting, her body is literally trying to create a chemical bond between you two. Her conscious mind might be saying, I'm just being friendly, but her nervous system is running a completely different program. And here's the detail that separates a friendly touch from an I'm crazy about you touch: duration and placement. A friendly pat on the back is quick, surface level, forgettable. But when she touches your forearm and lets her hand linger there for even half a second longer than necessary, when her fingers press gently instead of just tapping, that woman is telling you something her words will probably never say out loud. At least not yet. I once watched my friend greet a guy she'd been talking about for 3 weeks straight. She walked up to him, said hi, and placed her hand on his chest, for a full 2 seconds. Afterwards, she told me, I don't know why I did that. Girl, yes you do. We all know why you did that. Her voice does something she can't control. This is one of my absolute favorites because it's almost entirely involuntary, which means she can't fake it and she can't hide it. When a woman is genuinely attracted to someone, her voice changes when she greets them. And I don't mean she starts speaking in a baby voice or doing some exaggerated performance. It's much more subtle than that. Research published in the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior found that women unconsciously raise the pitch of their voice when speaking to someone they find attractive. It's a biological signal rooted in evolution. Higher-pitched voices are associated with femininity, youth, and approachability. She's not choosing to do this. Her body is making that decision for her. So the next time a woman says hello to you, compare her tone to how she speaks to everyone else in the room. Does her voice go up slightly? Does it get softer? Does she speak a little slower, like she's savoring the words? If the answer is yes, that voice shift is essentially her biology screaming, "I like this person," while her face tries to play it cool. The contrast between what her voice is doing and what her expression is doing is honestly one of the funniest things to watch once you know what's happening. It's like watching someone try to hide a winning lottery ticket behind their back while grinning ear to ear. The hug that breaks every rule of normal hugging. Not all hugs are created equal, and men need to understand this immediately. There is a massive canyon-sized difference between the hug a woman gives someone she's obligated to greet and the hug she gives someone she's been mentally replaying conversations with at 2 in the morning. The polite hug is quick. One arm, minimal body contact. She's already pulling away before you've even finished leaning in. It's efficient. It's transactional. It communicates nothing except, "I acknowledge your existence in this social setting." But the hug from a woman who's crazy about you, that hug is a whole event. Both arms, full body contact. Her head might rest against your shoulder or your chest for just a moment. She might exhale, and that exhale is everything because it means she feels safe. She feels comfortable. Her body is literally relaxing into you. Relationship psychologist Dr. John Gottman has talked extensively about how physical closeness and the willingness to be vulnerable in someone's presence are foundational indicators of emotional attraction. And here's the dead giveaway. She doesn't let go first. She waits for you to break the hug. If a woman holds on and lets you be the one to pull away, she was not ready for that hug to end. She would have stayed there for another 5 seconds if social norms allowed it. That's not friendliness. That's longing. And if you're still confused after receiving a hug like that, I genuinely don't know what to tell you. She turns her entire body towards you. This one is based on body language fundamentals that FBI agents, interrogators, and behavioral analysts use every single day. When someone is genuinely engaged and interested, they orient their entire body, not just their head, their entire body, toward the person they're focused on. Former FBI agent Joe Navarro, who literally wrote the book on reading body language called What Everybody Is Saying, explains that the torso and feet are the most honest parts of the body. People can control their facial expressions, but they rarely think to control where their feet are pointing or how their torso is angled. So when a woman greets you and she squares up, faces you fully, feet pointed directly at you, shoulders open, she's subconsciously giving you her complete attention. She's not angled toward the door. She's not half-turned toward her friend. She's locked in on you. And if she does this in a group setting where she could easily face anyone else, the message is even louder. She chose to orient herself toward you. In a room full of options, her body picked you. That's not politeness. That's priority. The greeting that comes with a playful insult. Now, this one might seem counterintuitive, but stay with me because it's incredibly telling. When a woman greets you with a joke at your expense, something like, "Oh, look who finally decided to show up," or "Wow, you actually combed your hair today," and she's smiling the entire time, that woman is flirting with you in the most classic way possible. Psychologists call this affiliative teasing, and it's a well-documented courtship behavior across cultures. A study from the University of Kansas found that shared humor and playful teasing are among the strongest predictors of romantic interest. When she teases you, she's doing several things simultaneously. She's testing your confidence to see how you handle it. She's creating an inside joke which builds intimacy, and she's giving herself plausible deniability. If you don't respond well, she can always say, "I was just kidding." But here's the key. A woman doesn't bother crafting a clever tease for someone she's indifferent about. If she's putting effort into making you laugh, into getting a reaction out of you, into creating a moment that's just between the two of you, she's invested. Indifference is silence. Teasing is attention. And attention from a woman who has other things she could be doing with her time, that's basically a love letter written in sarcasm. The "I can't believe you're here" energy. And this is the one I told you about at the beginning. This is the greeting that, once I describe it, you're going to think back to every woman who ever did this to you and realize what was actually happening. When a woman sees you and her face changes before she even speaks, her eyes widen, her eyebrows lift, her whole expression opens up like you just walked in carrying her online shopping delivery. That is what psychologists call the eyebrow flash, and it is one of the most universal cross-cultural signals of genuine delight and attraction in all of human behavior. Anthropologist Irenaeus Ibel-Ibisfeld studied this across dozens of cultures around the world and found that the eyebrow flash is innate. Babies do it. People who have been blind since birth do it. It's hardwired into our species, and it only happens in response to someone or something that triggers genuine pleasure, recognition, and excitement. So when a woman sees you and her face lights up, truly lights up, before she's had time to compose herself, you are seeing the most honest emotional reaction a human being is capable of producing. She can't rehearse it. She can't manufacture it. It happens in a fraction of a second, and it tells you everything. Now combine that facial reaction with any of the other signs I've already mentioned: the name drop, the lingering touch, the voice shift, the full body orientation, and you're not dealing with a woman who's maybe kind of interested. You're dealing with a woman who is absolutely, undeniably, top to bottom crazy about you. And the reason I saved this for near the end is because I wanted you to understand the full picture first. Any one of these signs on its own is meaningful. But the eyebrow flash, that's the keystone. That's the one that confirms everything else. If you see that flash of genuine, uncontrollable joy on her face the moment she lays eyes on you, stop second-guessing yourself. She's telling you. She's been telling you. She literally cannot stop her face from telling you. She greets you first every single time. This last one is deceptively simple but incredibly important. If a woman consistently goes out of her way to greet you first, she spots you across the room and makes a beeline, she sends the first text when you both arrive somewhere, she's always the one initiating the hello. She is actively choosing you, over and over again. Behavioral scientist Dr. Vanessa Van Edwards has pointed out that the person who initiates contact is the person who's been thinking about the interaction beforehand. Greeting someone first requires a decision. It requires that she noticed you, that she wanted to talk to you, and that she valued the connection enough to risk being the one who made the first move. In a world where women are constantly told to wait for him to come to you and don't seem too eager, a woman who greets you first is ignoring every piece of advice she's ever received because she simply cannot help herself. The pull toward you is stronger than the social programming telling her to play it cool. And if that's not one of the most flattering things a person can do, I don't know what is. So here's where we are. You now have a cheat sheet that most men will go their entire lives without ever having. You understand the name drop, the purposeful touch, the involuntary voice shift, the hug that says more than words ever could, the full body turn, the playful tease, the unmistakable eyebrow flash, and the power of being greeted first. Each one of these is a thread, but when you start seeing 2, 3, 4 of them woven together in a single interaction, that's not a thread anymore. That's a rope. And she's trying to pull you closer with it. The real question isn't whether women have been giving you these signals. They have. The real question is, how many of these moments have you already missed because you didn't know what you were looking at? That thought is going to haunt some of you tonight, and honestly, it should. Because awareness without action is just regret with extra steps. So here's what I want you to do. And no, I'm not going to ask you to hit a subscribe button like this is some kind of hostage negotiation. Instead, I want you to make a deal with yourself, not with me, with yourself. The next time a woman greets you and you notice even one of these signs, you respond. You match her energy. You engage. Because she just put herself out there in a way that probably terrified her, even if she made it look effortless. The least you can do is meet her halfway. That's the deal. One sign, one response. If you can commit to that, you don't need a subscription. You need a calendar because your life is about to get a whole lot busier. Now, everything I just shared with you covers how a woman greets you. But what happens after the greeting? What happens when a woman's attraction goes beyond a hello and into something deeper, something more intentional, something physical? Because the signs shift dramatically when a woman moves from "I'm interested" to "I want closeness." And if you think the greeting signals were revealing, you are absolutely not prepared for what comes next. The video on your screen right now is called "If a Woman Wants Intimacy with You, She Will Always Do These 6 Things." And I'm going to be completely honest with you, that video contains information that makes everything I just told you look like a warm-up round. If you found this valuable, that video is the next chapter you need. Click it now because the women in your life are already speaking this language. It's time you became fluent.